Welcome to week 16 of This Week in Film, the podcast where we discuss the movies we've seen over the past week. I'm Nick Panunto, and joining me, as always today, is Rays Rayndom Rayquest.
Hey.
And Tony LaBoy.
Hey guys, I'm back. I made it.
Yeah, okay. That wasn't exciting at all.
Well, you told me to be quiet because of this new system we have going here. I'm used to the old system where I can scream.
Yep, can't scream with this one.
Well,
Probably shouldn't try. Charlie is not here again. He's off promoting his paperback of his Boy Zero comic book, which we should all look at some point.
He's been gone for a while.
He's been gone for a long time. I don't remember his face anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But leading us off today, Tony.
Oh, I'm starting?
Yep.
We didn't discuss that.
Shot out of a cannon.
I guess.
Back in the saddle.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, what did I see? I saw Devil's Advocate
Nice.
with Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Quite
about,
the duo.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, it's about a lawyer who just can't lose. And the movie takes place in Florida, and that gave Keanu and Charlize Theron, which is his wife, creative license to do the worst Southern accents.
Yes, I remember this.
And they keep it up for the whole movie. It's awful. So that set a tone, and I was just trying to look past it. I couldn't, but
Hey,
I
baby.
tried.
That was my Charlize. Doesn't she call him baby all the time?
Yeah, there was a lot of, but I'm a liar. That's what I do. I'm a liar. Anyway, so yeah, Keanu's a hotshot lawyer. He can't lose, and it starts off with him defending a pedophile. He's a defense lawyer, and in the middle of the trial, he finds out that the pedophile is guilty, and he decides to defend him anyway, and he goes in for the kill, and he ends up winning the case. Now, after that, he goes out celebrating, and he gets approached by a guy, and he's like, hey, I have a really great deal for you. You'd have to come to New York for my firm, pick out a jury, blah, blah, blah. And at first, Keanu turns him down, but then after seeing the check, obviously he decides to go. So he goes, picks a jury, he wows him, and it ends up that he starts working for Al Pacino's firm. Turns out that, spoiler alert, Al Pacino isn't...
I don't believe what I'm about to hear.
Do you mean that
Al Pacino's not just the head of a high-power lawyer?
Oh, well, he must
firm.
be like just have a lot of influence.
No. A little bit more than that. Oh, well, you could say that he's the devil. He's Satan.
What?
And guess
No
who
way.
Keanu becomes? The
Jesus.
devil's advocate. The devil's advocate. You're right. So yeah, and then it gets kind of dark. I thought it would be a little bit better. It was the first time I've ever seen it.
You had never seen it?
No, I've never seen it. It was
Oh,
like the one
man.
Keanu movie that had escaped me. I thought it was going to be a little better. It got a little hokey in there.
A little.
Yeah. But it took some dark turns. They tried to get really dark, but it was just kind of a miss for me. But it was okay. I'd give it a 6 out of 10.
it's a weird movie?
It is a weird
it's
movie.
definitely weird.
Al Pacino just goes full on.
Oh yeah.
Well, if somebody could do some research here, I'd be interested to know if that came out before or after Heat. Because when I saw Heat,
I think it's after.
Heat for me was the turn of Al Pacino going from like a subtle actor to just over the top crazy in his old age.
Yeah, it's somewhere along the lines of Son of a Woman and Heat that he just turns into a guy.
Son of a Woman for sure, you're right.
Where he just yells.
Hoo-ah.
Yes,
For him,
exactly.
Yelling became drama.
Insert clip. She's got a big ass.
Best line. From
Yeah, that is the best line in Heat. All right, so who's next? I'm
I
finished.
guess we're done
I'm
talking.
finished.
You done talking about your movie?
Well, unless you
Great.
guys have anything to add.
No, I mean,
No.
Devil's Advocate was always a movie that I used to see on TNT
Yeah.
or USA. Before it started, I'd be like, okay, I'm excited for this, and then I'd watch it and be like, I remember why I didn't like this movie the first time I watched it.
There's definitely been cooler dark flicks that Keanu's been in that he's just killed.
Yeah.
A la Constantine.
I love Constantine.
John Wick you can throw in there.
Wick, love
Just
John Wick.
he's really good at the dark role, but I think the southern accent pretty much killed it for him
Hey,
in this one.
baby. Well, Ray, what did you see this week?
I saw The Invitation this week.
What the hell is that?
It's a small film directed by Karen Kusama, who also did Jennifer's Body and Aeon Flux, if you guys remember those movies.
Jennifer's Body.
That's the Megan Fox movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Anne Fox was the
was
Aeon
Charlize
Flux.
Theron, right?
Right, yeah, it was
Yeah.
based on that cartoon.
Little
Ooh,
tie-in there.
Yeah, here we go. Theme.
But don't base
I'm
that
gonna bring it
movie.
You
all
better
home
nail
with
this.
mine.
Don't base this movie on those two movies. This is a little bit different. It was released in limited release in April, and now it's on like video on demand, so you guys can check it out that way. A basic premise of the movie is this guy and his girlfriend get invited to a dinner party.
An invitation.
Right, an invitation. Get invited to a dinner party one night by his ex-wife and her now new husband.
Mm-hmm.
Awkward.
Right off the bat, he thinks it's kind of weird. They go anyway. They get to the dinner party, and right when they get to it's actually the house that he lived in with her too. So it's his old house as well.
Yeah.
So right when he gets there, he can see that something's like off. All his old friends are there as well, and it seems like everybody else at the dinner party really doesn't acknowledge or doesn't see the weird things going on. He seems like he's the only one that sees like something's weird here. His ex-wife is acting differently than she used to act.
Mm-hmm.
Weird supernatural or just weird by the way that people are acting?
Just weird by the way people are acting.
Okay.
Basically,
Right.
his old crew, his
Okay.
old like friends from high school.
But they're
friends who
not
work-
acting the way that he remembered them.
No,
Well,
they're acting the same. But it's mostly his wife, his ex-wife, and her new husband are acting
Okay.
strange.
Okay.
And he can tell that there's something weird going on.
Okay.
That's like the basic premise of the movie. There's like flashbacks and stuff that happen, kind of like showing their marriage before, they got divorced. And I can't really go too much further into it because there's some twists and turns in there.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very good, very much of a slow burn type of movie. The music is very well done. The music was done by Theodore Shapiro, who also did the music for Marley and Me, Tropic Thunder, and Wet Hot American Summer, which
Okay.
doesn't go with this movie at all.
Yeah,
That's a
right.
hell of
It's
a
like
career
yeah,
right,
right.
there.
Yeah, exactly. But it's very like noir type of music, very like dark tones.
So without giving anything away, tell me, like, are we talking murder here? Or are we talking...
It's a thriller. It's a thriller.
Okay.
I don't want to say like it's a thriller. It does get violent at the end.
Okay.
Just leave it at that.
Okay.
All right.
An interesting little tidbit about this movie is originally, so the only person you guys would maybe recognize in the movie is Logan Marshall Green, who was in Prometheus.
Okay.
He plays like one of the scientists in Prometheus.
Hmm.
Originally, this movie was supposed to star Luke Wilson.
Also with Charlize Theron.
Right. You're right. Yeah.
Man.
Wow. A lot of Charlize Theron tie-ins this
Yeah.
week. Originally, this movie was supposed to star Luke Wilson, Topher Grace, Zachary Quinto, and Johnny Galecki. That was
the original cast.
That was the original cast.
Uh-huh.
And then I don't know what happened there, but now like you won't recognize many of the actors in this movie.
Huh.
So would you say this is a pretty strong story, or is it more of like an actor's movie?
Very strong with the story, but there's also
Because I
room
feel
for
like
the actors to play as well.
if there's like an explosive story, I almost prefer that I don't know who anybody
Exactly,
is.
and that's what I was just about to say. I
Yeah.
think it's better that you don't know.
Back off, Tony.
I'll just shut the hell up then.
I think it's better that you don't know who all these guys are. Because if you had Johnny Galecki in there, I mean, come on.
I honestly have no idea who he is.
Yeah.
Isn't that the guy from Big Bang Theory?
Which
All
one?
I know is David from Roseanne.
Oh.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's from the Big Bang Theory,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
from
yeah.
Roseanne. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
okay.
Johnny
okay.
Galecki.
yeah.
That's his
Ah.
name.
Yeah.
Man.
You should stick with David from
Sorry,
Roseanne.
dude.
But yeah, like
Sorry,
so, like I
Johnny.
said, I don't want to give too much away because like I said, there's a lot of twists and turns that the script goes with. But it was very good. If you like thrillers and stuff that's very dark and stuff that might throw you off here or there, definitely check it out. The Invitation.
Okay.
Great. I'm intrigued. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, this week, I saw the movie Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy, directed by Tomas Alfredson. I believe it's from 2011, starring Gary Oldman.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with Charlize Theron,
Oh, great.
as far as I know.
We might be able to figure.
Yeah.
We
like
could
a,
probably
We're
find
really
a
6
playing.
degrees of-
Yeah, 6 degrees. Of
Well,
Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron.
but the cast is full
We'll
of
find it.
all the heavy British hitters. It's got John Hurt, Colin Firth, Gary Oldman, like I said, and right before they both really blew up, Benedict Cumberbatch and Tom Hardy, who was in Fury Road with Charlize Theron.
There we go. You see?
Nice.
But it is a very complicated movie. Have either of you seen it?
Yes, I have seen it, and
It
I
is-
agree. It's very
It's
complicated.
very complicated. It's
I have
very,
not. I've stayed away for that very reason because you have to. I feel like you definitely have to be in a mood to watch a movie
Yes,
like that,
yes.
and it just wasn't.
Yeah,
Never clicked for me.
It was very difficult to. There's a lot of names and a lot of time shifting. Like they flash back, or sometimes you're not sure if it's a flashback.
Right.
Yeah.
And
That screws you up a lot.
but basically, it's a Cold War spy thriller, and they're trying to find a mole who's at the very top of British intelligence,
Okay.
a Russian mole who is right at the top. and Gary Oldman's task is to try and find out who this guy is. One of the things that's great about the movie is that it really feels like it was shot in the 70s. Like the movie takes place, I think, in 72, 73. It takes place over a long period of time, like a couple of years. And they do this by showing Gary Oldman swimming in a river.
Right,
then,
yes, I remember
and then
that.
it's too cold for him to swim in a river. Like, I guess in the 70s, old men just swim in the river in London. Everything about the movie, like, you really feel like this movie is from 1975.
That's
Like,
cool.
it doesn't look like a modern movie that takes place in the 70s, like the film grain and all that stuff. It looks old.
Nice.
Which is fantastic. And it's based on a series of books by John le Carre. And I think if I had read the books, a lot of the movie would have made a lot more sense.
Right,
like
yeah.
It seems like they put there's a lot of attention to detail in the movie, and everything isn't spelled out for the viewer, which means that it's probably they're paying lip service to the book readers who are watching it going,
Sure.
oh yeah, there's that character or there's that character. It made me want to read the book to try and get some of these side characters figured out. But I'm going to be honest, after I finished watching the movie, I went and turned it back on because I had no idea what was happening.
Are you serious?
at the
You
end.
watched it twice?
I watched it 1.5 times to figure out what was happening, because everything that happens in the beginning of the movie sets up the end. I didn't realize I was lost until I was halfway
Until
through
you
the
were at the
movie.
end.
and then I was like, what is happening? So I went back and watched like the first 45 minutes again and went, oh, okay, I get it.
I've definitely done that in a movie before where, like, the end, I realize I get to the end and I feel like it was supposed to be so impactful and it means nothing to me.
Right.
I'm like, I definitely missed something and I have to go back. So
Yeah, but it was very good. It really keeps you guessing. You don't know who the mole is until the end, and then even at the end, it has that British. Well, we've solved nothing really. It's still raining, and we're still sad.
But yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, I've seen it. I've only seen it one time, and I really would like to go back and watch it again because I was lost for most of the movie, and I didn't really like it.
Mhm.
I guess maybe for that reason, I just couldn't. I couldn't follow it, or I misstepped in the beginning, and then I lost it from there. So yeah, I would like to go back and watch it again, definitely.
Yeah.
that ending reminds me of a good Coen Brothers flick, Burn After Reading,
Oh yeah.
with J.K. Simmons. He's like,
Where-
well, what did we learn?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Well, let's not do it again. Yeah,
Yeah.
we probably will.
It's great.
Yeah. So Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. I would recommend checking it out, but be prepared to have a headache at the end of it from thinking too hard.
It's like Cloud Atlas. You guys ever see that?
No.
No, I've heard that is so
So
has
that-
so many layers to
That's
it.
one of those movies where,
I
like,
imagine.
the whole movie, you're like, all right, at the end, they're gonna tie this all together, and I'm gonna figure it out. And the movie ends, you're just like, what the hell did I just watch?
Yeah.
Type of thing.
So it's not not in a good way.
No. I mean, it's different from Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where, like, you can go back and watch. Like, I've watched Cloud Atlas like 3 or 4 times.
What?
And I still don't
Well,
get it.
like you're like determined to get it, and you
Yeah.
just can't.
I just don't understand it. I just don't get it.
I just
Explain the
imagine
mystery
Ray,
to
Somebody-
me.
Ray in a dark room with like glasses and a pencil and a pad and just writing shit down. While he's watching
if
this movie.
somebody on the internet wants to
That's
explain
the true truth.
Cloud Atlas to me, go right ahead because
Yeah.
I'm ready
It's
and
based
willing.
on a book, right?
Yeah, but apparently it's one of those books where it's like this cannot be made into a movie,
Right.
and they did it anyway.
That'll about do it for the main portion of the This Week in Film podcast. Week 16. Answering last week's Rays Random Request. We had a ton
Great.
of replies. Ray, your question last week was, what movie has the best soundtrack?
Right.
And Judy says, The Muppet Movie. Samantha says, Almost Famous.
Good one. That's a good one.
At
yeah,
Wilmington,
definitely very good one.
At Wilmington Dan on Twitter says the Kick-Ass soundtrack was pretty great.
Yeah.
He says that sequence where Hit Girl is killing a bunch of people and Bad Reputation is playing in the background.
Oh, nice.
I haven't seen Kick-Ass in forever. He says that scene is awesome.
Yeah, it is a very good scene.
Barbara says City of Angels. Jackie says
Wait, City of Angels.
City of Angels.
That's Goo Goo Dolls, Iris.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
song. They are totally underrated. Not going to back down from that statement.
All right, we have that. On
That is on record.
Goo Goo Dolls, decent band. Jackie says Say Anything. Michael went with High Fidelity, which was an awesome soundtrack.
Yeah,
Another
of course.
Cusack.
Yeah.
Scott, he went with Risky Business.
Ooh, risky business. Nice.
And then Jackie comes back and
Back for more?
She takes back Say Anything. She says, I take that back.
Huh.
And then Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Which is what I think Keith mentioned that
Yeah,
last
Keith
week.
mentioned
when
that
we,
last
I
week,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, that's an awesome soundtrack.
And then Scott said Blade Runner, countering his other answer.
Wait, Blade
Yeah,
Runner.
well,
Blade
what?
Runner is just a score, I think.
Yeah.
Right, which
There's
goes
no,
into goes into what listener Chris says later.
I guess score, yeah, score. You could.
And then John says Dazed and Confused. Jeffrey says hands down, it's Joe Dirt. And then Chris says the soundtrack from Private Parts. Then he breaks it down into the best original soundtrack from the new Tron movie,
Right, Tron Legacy.
Jimmy Neutron.
Ah.
Now, Tron Legacy, all the Daft Punk music. At SPF Oz Music on Twitter says for original score, he'd say Enter the Dragon. But best set of songs, he would go with Dazed and Confused as well. Jill says her favorite is Dirty Dancing. And Christine says Selena. How could you argue with that? And we won't. And before we get into this week's question, right, we have a listener question.
Listener question.
Oh,
From
interesting.
listener Dan at Wilmington Dan on Twitter. He says, you guys talk about a scene that is epic because of the music.
Wow, there's a lot. to
One
think of
comes to
there.
mind right away.
Is it from Face Off?
No. It is from, damn it, you're going to have to help me with this movie. Colin Firth.
Kingsman?
Oh,
Kingsman.
Oh, yes.
And the song is, it's Freebird in the church.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
But that scene is insane.
The music
Yeah.
really punctuates it because, I mean, obviously that whole scene is just violence upon violence.
yeah.
But I feel like it was a very nice choice for that song.
I would have to say the scene from Face Off,
Oh,
All right.
funny you asked.
Yeah.
where the woman puts the headphones on the kid,
Oh,
and it starts playing What a Wonderful World. When the mom puts the headphones on the kid,
Yeah.
and Somewhere Over the Rainbow starts playing.
Oh, you're just gonna edit that, huh?
He won't. He's not going to be corrected.
Yeah.
And then I had another answer to that, which would play back to my movie last week. The sequence in Grosse Pointe Blank where John Cusack is holding the baby,
Right. yeah, you
and
talked about
Queen
this.
and David Bowie's Under Pressure is playing, and him and the baby are like locked eyes.
Nice.
And he has that moment. That is phenomenal. That is a phenomenal moment.
Great, good stuff. I would say the end of Miami Vice, the Colin Farrell, Jamie Foxx movie.
I love that damn movie.
I loved
Miami
Miami
Vice.
Vice. I
It's
loved
one of
Miami
my favorite
Vice.
movies of all time.
I thought it was great.
That is a bizarre statement.
It was a great movie. Do you not like Miami Vice?
No, it was fine.
I'm
but
a big Michael Mann fan. So
Yeah, I like Miami.
Okay.
But at the end of the movie, when like everything's concluding, Mogwai, there's a song from Mogwai playing from start to finish. It plays, and it's just very good. It just the tone is very good, and always just whenever I hear that song, I think of that movie. I forget what the song is called, but there's no words. It's just instrumental.
Mhm.
It's just great.
Well, there you go, listeners, Dan. And if any other listeners out there have questions you want us to talk about on the show, let us have them. Ray, what's this week's Rays Rayndom Rayquest?
My question this week is just to go along with. I feel like every week I go along with what something Nick says, but
That's a good idea.
right. What is a movie that you had to watch more than once to get it? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a movie that you liked.
Right.
A movie you had to watch more than once to understand.
Didn't totally click till you saw
Right,
it again.
right. Yeah.
That's a great question.
Nice.
Yeah.
Or upon the second rewatch, it opened up a whole nother world to me.
Right.
Tony, can you let the people know where they could find us on the internet?
Sure, you can find us at SoundCloud, Facebook, YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, Twitter, Google Play Music, and thisweekinfilmpodcast.com.
That's right. If you follow us on iTunes, please consider writing us a review, and check us out on YouTube where we do a video edition of the show. Like and subscribe to us there. Check out Charlie's comic book, Boy Zero, which is available in print from Amazon.com. It's probably on other places at this point, but we haven't seen Charlie in weeks now.
I don't even know if he's still.
He's gone Hollywood.
Tony, Ray, do you have anything to add?
No, I got nothing to add.
Have a good week.
Yeah,
And
we have a great week.
keep watching and listening.
Well, if that is all, we'll see you next week in film. It's not going away.
This is very corporate now.